Hello and welcome back to the Innsmouth Case with me, Bardon. Right, so we're going to try to pretend to be Gary and see how that works out. We wander the streets, the dark clouds spread out from the sea, like claws that ominously reach for the town, reach for you. The sun is set and the temperature is dropping fast. The air too gets cooler. A rough wind whips through the alleys. You're lost. You have no idea how to get out of this godforsaken town. If that weren't bad enough, you also underestimated the September weather on the coast, and the real cold temperatures still yet to come. Scattered raindrops do not bode well. You aimlessly wander the streets. The narrow alleys are a labyrinth of simple wooden fishermen's huts. At least you're not completely on your own. Look at that. Even at this late hour, there are groups of people out patrolling, with torches and pitchforks, and knives and nets. Yeah, we said we're going to pretend to be Gary, so let's walk towards them. As repulsive and dangerous as they might seem with their improvised weapons, you have never been someone who judges a book by its cover, especially not when you're cold and sleepy. Before you reveal yourself to patrol, you think again whether you should prepare yourself in some way. You can't think of anything in particular. Let's cover our face. Follow your intuition. You grab a piece of cloth dangling from a barrel. Torn cloth stinks of rotten fruit, which is a welcome change from the rotten fish that you've been smelling the whole evening. You walk up to the small group of townsfolk. There! Screams the front man of the group, an old fisherman with a white, bushy beard. He waves his torch in your direction. His friends limp towards you, their rags and rain jackets and rags flap awkwardly against their bodies. Ta, Cthulhu thang. Considering they're a limping horde of deformed lunatics, they manage to surround you quickly. The light of the torches dancing in the rain makes the already scary faces look even more bizarre. Nervously they click their bulging lips while they stick out their torches, knives and pitchforks to keep you in check. You wonder if the people of Innsmouth suffer from radiation poisoning. Would explain so much. Hey, you there! The leader of the mob spits at you. Oh, damn it. There you were, hoping to be able to sneak past the creepy group, but you somehow must have caught their attention. What are you doing here all alone? Well, I'm looking for outsiders that I can sacrifice. Yeah, so this going to the church and the whole pretend to be Gary thing opened this up for us, so let's see where it takes us. After a day in Innsmouth, you think you know exactly what these people want to hear. Well, I'm looking for outsiders that I can sacrifice. Well then, don't sneak around alone. Come with us, the leader squeals. Impatiently, he beckons one of his lackeys. Ishmael, you got another net? Sure, Abe. A man with a rather unfavorably mutated face hands you a small fishing net. It is the perfect size to throw over individual people or a small group of children. My mind is now whirring, and the thought that's in there that's running around like a little hamster on a wheel is, are we actually going to go through with this and sacrifice someone or not? Let's see. He nodded in recognition of the solid craftsmanship, and Ishmael gives you an angry look. Or is it a smile? It's really hard to tell with these skin flaps. Your group moves through the alley of the old town. Again and again the leader promises the men luck and wealth if only they manage to make a sacrifice to Dagon in time. The search remains unsuccessful. More precisely, it would have been unsuccessful if it had been your plan to capture people as part of a pitchfork mob. Okay, yeah, true. What has been successful, however, was your plan to get closer to the town centre. The streets have become a bit wider, and you no longer feel like a mouse trapped in a labyrinth. You have a rough idea of the direction in which you can leave town. Now all I have to do is break away from the group unnoticed. Apart from you, there's not a soul on the road. Eventually the group leader loses it. Nobody, absolutely fucking nobody, is out at this time anymore. He clenches his fist. No tourists, no hacks, not one of those stupid landlubbers, not even this pathetic private investigator. Private investigator? It should not come as a surprise that your name is also on the list of roving search teams. But hearing it firsthand still gives you a queasy feel. Keep calm. If you want to get out of this alive, you should make sure that you don't attract any unwanted attention. You would love to check the piece of cloth you have wrapped around your head, but then again, you don't want to draw attention to it. A dilemma. At least no one seems to be paying you too much attention. The men are too busy limping through the alleys of the old town like a startled flock of geese, in the hopes of picking up a few more unsuspecting tourists. What if we check the hotel again? One of the henchmen asks with an appeasing gesture, as if the impatient old fisherman was a wild animal that needs to calm down. Gilman hasn't seen anybody all evening. He's not at the hotel, damn it. Don't say or she, because then they'll know. Silence. Your group keeps walking. You're not sure if stump feet are a prerequisite for a membership in the Innsmouth Vigilante group, but you want to be on the safe side. Pretty soon you fit right in. You limp, raise your fist with your net in the air and start muttering incoherent fantasy sounds. Ta! Ta! Although you've been walking around for 2 hours, you haven't been able to track down a single outsider. The morale of the group is at a low point, and the old fisherman is not very good at keeping up the fighting spirit of his friends. Your group marches on through the alleyways. Well, you're marching. The rest of the group limp and waddle. It is cold, rainy, and there is still no end of this whole exercise in sight. The men grumble, but nobody dares to revolt. Too strong is the sense of duty towards the community to try to pick up a few unsuspecting tourists. Your shoes are soaked, so full of water that every step creates a loud smacking sound. The other villagers have not fared any better, but they don't seem to care about all the water. Then bingo, you can already see them from a distance, soaked Hawaiian shirts, ambling around the drab buildings. You come across a tourist couple. Here we go, your leader whispers with his disgusting grin. You know it's time to act. Oh, we don't get to... We don't get to sacrifice the people. I think we're gonna warn them. Yeah. Let's warn the tourists. Your mind is racing. You know full well that people react very skeptically to weirdos running around screaming. This is why you scream. He has a gun. He has a gun! You shout without any context and wave your arms about from a distance. You think you can see a jolt going through the two tourists. Eyes widen in fear, look at you, and then the two disappear into the next alleyway. But now everybody's going to be looking at us. There's simply no civil courage left in the world. That's it. The two are gone, and with a little luck, they may make it to safety. You gave them an opportunity. For you, on the other hand, things look grim. With raised arms, you turn around, ready to face the rabble. But they too are gone. The group was scattered in the wind. Did they all fall for this cheap act? At least no one is stopping you from leaving town now. You rush through the streets of Innsmouth. The narrow, labyrinthine paths of the old town become wider, and you even manage to get a sense of where you are. The path is going slightly uphill, a sure sign that you're approaching the city limits. If the moonlight wasn't completely hidden by the clouds, you'd be able to see the ocean from here. As it is, the horizon is nothing but black. You still think you can hear the sounds of the waves, but that's absurd. That's impossible. The further away you are from the sea, the better. With each step you take, your head becomes a little clearer, and the sound of the waves weaker. Boston. You have to get back to Boston. Okay, so this time we're going to try and walk, even though it's crazy. That's what we're going to do. You've made it. At last, you leave the streets of Innsmouth. They've closed in on you so much the whole place felt like it was suffocating you. A vast void of darkness lies ahead of you. The lousy little coast town lies behind you. You swapped it for a bumpy dirt road and a parking lot whose motorized inhabitants glisten peacefully in the moonlight. At least it's not raining anymore, but it's still freezing. You take a deep breath. The pressure in your chest that has built up during the day now finally dissipates. Sweet relaxation. You will revel in it as soon as you've made it back to Boston safely and firmly planted your behind on your leather couch. But how are you going to get home? You'll walk if you have to, damn it. Nothing would stop you from leaving this godforsaken town. You will walk the few miles home if that's what it takes. It wasn't that far, was it? Granted, your memories of how you got to Innsmouth in the first place are already a bit fuzzy, but this is still the northern part of the East Coast. How long can it really take? Besides, you can deduct every mile of your journey from tax. You can deduct every mile of your journey from tax. A thought that is simultaneously comforting and unpleasant. Unpleasant because a long time ago, you started this job to actually help people. Something really must have gone terribly wrong in your life over the past few months. Under your feet, sand and pebbles crunch as you set off on your journey home. The moonlight illuminates your path that lies before you, a spotlight on this final act of your adventure. You're sleep deprived and tired. As you look around again, you notice once more how so many things in Innsmouth are makeshift. They're really skimped on everything, you think to yourself. Endlessly repeating to your right are an avenue of trees, and to your left, fallow fields, just like in those cheap cartoons from the 80s, in which one simple background image is repeated over and over again. A wooden sign. You are now leaving Innsmouth. Okay, this is the plan after all. You keep walking along the path, and on, and on. The row of trees to your right seems to be unending. Okay, you keep moving, and moving. Then, sigh, again. You are now leaving Innsmouth. As if that needed any more elucidation. Look at the sign more closely. Maybe it's a different sign. Wooden boards nailed together haphazardly and written on with a matte red paint. Not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. Always the same stupid text. You are now leaving Innsmouth. Suddenly you realize something. All the signs are identical. All the signs are identical. Down to the last small detail, you could swear it. There, on the last letter, where the paint had been applied too thickly, and then had slowly trickled down the sign. Okay, keep moving. Yet another sign. Again and again. You are now leaving Innsmouth. You're starting to get a bad feeling about this. Not actually that complicated. You're walking in a straight line, simply moving forward. The explicit goal to put distance between yourself and this godforsaken hellhole. Why do you feel like a mouse trapped in a labyrinth? A laboratory rat observed by cold, cruel eyes during a hopeless escape attempt. Your heart is pounding. Turn around. Walk faster. Turn around. Stop, no. It doesn't work that way, a voice whispers. The voice is harsh and rough, like a voice that doesn't speak very often. That's a shame because what it says makes a lot of sense. You don't feel like you're actually moving forward. It's like you're stranded, a fish out of water, flapping about on land and slowly suffocating. You jerk yourself out of these dark thoughts. You turn around, prepared to walk the same hundreds of yards that you just walked. But to your horror, you realize that Innsmouth is still right there in front of you. Have you been walking on the same spot for for the last 10 minutes. If you ever make it back to Boston, this is definitely an episode that should discuss with your therapist. The parking lot is surrounded by a fence made from some simple wooden beams. You almost gracefully jump over the fence and find yourself surrounded by many cars with different makes and different generations. In addition to the recent models, which you can see every day from your office window, there are some real classics on display, the kind that still have a real horn attached to their body. Aren't the owners worried that the antique cars might get stolen? In the middle of their overflowing parking lot, in the dead of night, you consider your options. Keep wandering around. There must be a better way to get out of all this than stealing a car. You walk aimlessly across the car cemetery and stroll past the many pickup trucks. You make a detour over to the antique cars and stroke your fingertips over the sandy windows of the minibuses. There's no cab stands anywhere. You have already gotten used to it, but there's still not 0.0 reception on your cell phone. There simply is no other solution to your problem. How else can you suppose to leave this place? Stealing is such an unpleasant word. Borrowing indefinitely sounds much better. So we have to break into the car. There might be other options there on that one at some point, but I don't know. You could break into the car, preferably one of the newer models. One that screams out, "Take me, my battery still has some juice." Step 1, break in. You need to hurry. There's no time for any extravagant stunts. You'd love to smash the car window with your elbow, just like in the movies. Your weapon of choice, a stone that fits snugly into your fist, will soon make an intimate acquaintance with a car window. You aim, and the stone meets no resistance. The window is cranked down. Fine, if irresponsible. Some psycho might come along and steal the car. Without much delay, you pry open the plastic dashboard. You half worry that the many scenes from the TV in which someone short-circuits a car are all just made-up nonsense. But today must be your lucky day. It actually works. The car engine is howling. You put the car into reverse and maneuver it out of the narrow parking space. The headlights illuminate the many parked cars which have been assembled here over the decades. A shiver goes down your spine. The car dashes out of the parking lot and chases down the dirt road. Something tells you there won't be any oncoming traffic tonight. As you steer the car from the dirt road onto the next country road, you are overcome by a sudden sense of relief. The engine roars and you speed off into the dark. Okay, months later. So we've read this bit as well. It's pretty much going to be the same as we read before. But it's not that long, so let's actually read through it. You jerk awake. Only the pale moonlight seeps through the blinds of your apartment. It must be very late in the night. You're soaked in sweat, as per usual. You sit up on the edge of the bed and try to calm down. You're safe. You're at home. You've managed to put an end to their schemes, the kidnappings, and all the lies. You've escaped, but you're still under the spell of Innsmouth. Yeah, and there we go. Okay. Yeah, so that was interesting. The way I was full sure we get an option though to actually go and sacrifice someone. I don't know why. I was kind of half looking forward to it as well. I guess Innsmouth, it really is getting to me. But that is the end of that one. Hope you've enjoyed. We still have a few more to explore, so I hope you will join me for them as well. Take care and see you next time. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button there on the right, or checking out some other videos here on the left, or perhaps you might even share with some friends.